The universe, God, the divine intelligence, whatever name you choose to give to that infinite power, does not respond to your wants. It does not respond to your needs. It does not respond to your desperate pleading or endless wishing. The universe responds only to one thing, your state of being. This is what the universe cares about. This is what determines what manifests in your life. This is the secret key that unlocks the door to your desired reality. What do I mean by your state of being? I am referring to your consciousness, your inner awareness, your concept of self. I am referring to who you believe yourself to be right now, in this very moment. Your state of being is not what you want to be, hope to be, or are striving to become. It is who you are in consciousness right now. The great mistake made by most seekers is the belief that wanting something intensely enough will cause it to manifest. But desire alone is not enough. Desire is merely the starting point, the first step on the journey. It is necessary, yes, but it is insufficient. The universe does not respond to your wanting, it responds to your being. Let me share a simple truth that may revolutionize your understanding. The universe can only give you what you are, not what you want. It reflects back to you with mathematical precision the exact nature of your consciousness. If you remain in a state of wanting, you will continue to experience want. If you remain in a state of lack, you will continue to experience lack. The outer world is merely a reflection, a mirror image of your inner world. Consider this fundamental law. Consciousness is the only reality. All things exist within consciousness. Nothing exists outside of it. The world you experience daily is not an independent reality existing apart from you. It is a manifestation of your consciousness. Every person, every event, every circumstance in your life is a shadow, an outpicturing of your state of being. I am is the self-definition of the absolute. It is the most powerful creative force in the universe. When you declare I am, you are tapping into this infinite creative power. What follows those two words shapes your reality. I am wealthy, I am loved, I am successful, I am healthy. These are not mere affirmations, they are creative acts. They define your state of being, and it is this state that the universe responds to. But here's where most go astray. They say I am wealthy while feeling poor. They say I am healthy while feeling ill. They say I am loved while feeling lonely. This internal contradiction nullifies the creative power of the words. The feeling, my dear friends, is the secret. The feeling is everything. When I speak of feeling, I do not mean emotion in the ordinary sense. I mean the conviction, the certainty, the absolute knowing that transcends all doubt. It is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is stepping into the consciousness of already being what you desire to be, already having what you desire to have, already experiencing what you desire to experience. This is what the universe responds to your feeling, your consciousness, your state of being. Not your wants, not your needs, not your desires, but who you are in consciousness. Let me illustrate this principle with a simple example. Imagine two individuals both desiring financial abundance. The first person wants money desperately. He thinks about it constantly, worries about bills, feels the pain of lack, and affirms daily, I want to be wealthy. The second person assumes the consciousness of wealth. She feels the naturalness of abundance, experiences gratitude for her prosperity, and lives from the state of I am wealthy. Which of these individuals do you believe will manifest financial abundance? The universe does not care about the first person's wants. It only responds to the second person's state of being. The secret then is this. Instead of focusing on what you want, focus on embodying the state of consciousness that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. Do not ask how this will happen. That is not your concern. The how belongs to the universe, to God, to that infinite intelligence that orchestrates the entire cosmos. Your task is simply to assume the state of the wish fulfilled and to live from that state. This is the true meaning of faith. Faith is not hoping, wishing, or believing that something might happen in the future. Faith is knowing that what you desire is already yours in consciousness, and therefore must manifest in your experience. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. The substance, the essence, the reality of your desire exists now in your consciousness. The evidence, the outer manifestation, will inevitably follow. You see, my dear friends, creation is finished. All possible states of consciousness already exist. You do not create your desired state, you simply select it by your attention and assumption. When you assume a particular state of consciousness, you are essentially moving into a reality where your desire is already fulfilled. You are not causing something new to exist. You are simply aligning yourself with a version of reality that already contains what you desire. This is the meaning of that cryptic biblical phrase before they call, I will answer. Your desire is already fulfilled in consciousness before you even formulate it in words. The answer precedes the question. The solution precedes the problem. The fulfillment precedes the desire. All you need to do is align your consciousness with the reality where your desire is already fulfilled. Now let us delve deeper into this principle. How does one effectively shift one's state of being? How does one truly embody the consciousness of the wish fulfilled? The answer lies in the proper use of imagination. Imagination is the God power within you. It is not fantasy or daydreaming. It is the creative power of the universe expressing itself through you. Man is all imagination and God is man and exists in us and we in him. Your imagination, when properly directed, can transform your entire life experience. The technique is simple yet profound. Before sleep each night, quiet your mind and body. Relax completely. Then, in this receptive state, imagine a scene that would imply the fulfillment of your desire. Make it as vivid and as real as possible. Engage all your senses. See it, hear it, touch it, taste it, smell it. Feel the naturalness, the reality of it. Fall asleep in this state, feeling the joy of your wish fulfilled. When you do this, you are doing more than visualizing. You are entering into the state of consciousness where your desire is already a fact. You are impressing this state upon your subconscious mind, which must then express it in your outer experience. As within, so without. As above, so below. Your inner state must manifest as your outer reality. This is cosmic law. But remember, this is not a technique to be performed mechanically. It is a living experience, a shift in consciousness. The feeling is the secret. You must feel the reality of the state you are assuming. You must experience the naturalness of being the person you wish to be. This cannot be faked or forced. It must be genuine. And here is where most seekers fail. They try to force the feeling, to manufacture it artificially. But true feeling comes from understanding, from insight, from a genuine shift in consciousness. It comes from recognizing that you are not separate from your desire, that you are not reaching for something outside yourself. Your desire is already a part of you. It is already yours in consciousness. When you truly understand this, the feeling comes naturally. Now, let us address a common objection. Many will say, but I have tried this. I have imagined. I have assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled, yet my desire has not manifested. To this I say persistence is key. Rome was not built in a day, nor is a new state of consciousness established in a single night. Your current reality is the result of your habitual state of consciousness, built up over years, perhaps decades. It took time to establish this state, and it may take time to establish a new state. Do not be discouraged by temporary failures or setbacks. Persist in your assumption. Live from the end. Maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Another reason for apparent failure is divided attention. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot maintain the consciousness of wealth while simultaneously worrying about bills. You cannot maintain the consciousness of health while constantly checking for symptoms. You must be single-minded, focused exclusively on the state you wish to embody. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. The universe does not care about your conflicting desires or your wavering consciousness. It responds only to your dominant state of being. If your consciousness is divided, your manifestation will be delayed or distorted. Unify your consciousness. Be consistent in your assumption. Let nothing disturb your chosen state. Remember also that manifestation follows the path of least resistance. Your desire may come to you in ways you do not expect. Do not limit God by insisting on a particular how or when. Be open to all possibilities. Trust the wisdom of the universe to bring your desire to you in the perfect way and at the perfect time. This is what the universe cares about: your trust, your faith, your unwavering consciousness. Not your anxious wanting, not your desperate needing, but your calm, confident knowing. Let me share with you a personal experience that illustrates this principle. Many years ago, I desired to travel to New York to share these teachings, but I lacked the financial means to make the journey. Instead of focusing on my lack, instead of worrying about how I would acquire the money, I assumed the consciousness of already being in New York. Each night before sleep, I would imagine myself standing on a stage in New York, sharing these principles with an eager audience. I felt the joy, the satisfaction, the fulfillment of this experience. I lived from the end, completely ignoring the apparent impossibility of my desire. Within a week, I received an unexpected letter from a friend in New York, inviting me to speak at a gathering and enclosing sufficient funds for my journey. The universe did not respond to my want. It responded to my state of being. I had assumed the state of already being in New York, and the universe rearranged itself to make this assumption a physical fact. This is the law, my dear friends. This is how reality is created. Not by wanting, not by needing, not by struggling or striving, but by assuming the state of consciousness that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. Now let us explore another dimension of this principle. The universe does not just respond to your conscious assumptions. It also responds to your subconscious beliefs, your habitual patterns of thought, and feeling your deepest convictions about yourself and the world. Many of you have subconscious beliefs that contradict your conscious desires. You may consciously desire wealth, but subconsciously believe that money is scarce or that you are unworthy of abundance. You may consciously desire love, but subconsciously believe that you are unlovable, or that relationships always end in pain. These subconscious beliefs are also states of being, and the universe responds to them just as faithfully as it responds to your conscious states. In fact, your subconscious beliefs are often more powerful than your conscious desires, because they operate 24 hours a day, whereas your conscious focus is intermittent. How then do you transform these limiting subconscious beliefs? The answer lies again in proper use of imagination. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a vivid imaginal experience and an actual physical experience. When you vividly imagine an event, your subconscious accepts it as real and begins to reorganize your outer world to match this inner experience. This is why the imaginal act before sleep is so powerful. In the drowsy state between waking and sleeping, your conscious mind relaxes its guard, allowing direct access to the subconscious. The impressions made during this state sink deep into the subconscious and begin to transform your entire being. But remember, the feeling is the secret. Your imaginal act must be imbued with feeling, with conviction, with the sense of reality. It is not enough to visualize, you must experience. You must feel yourself to be the person you wish to be. You must experience the reality of your desire fulfilled. This feeling impression is what transforms your subconscious and consequently your outer world. Now let us consider another aspect of this principle. The universe does not care about your past, your prehistory, your previous failures or successes. It cares only about your present state of being. Your past has no power over you except the power you give it by your consciousness of it. You can be reborn at any moment by assuming a new state of consciousness. Many of you are bound by your personal history. You define yourselves by what has happened to you, by the roles you have played, by the limitations you have accepted. But all of this exists only in your consciousness. Change your consciousness, and you change everything. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth is that you are not your history, not your circumstances, not your body, not your personality. You are pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure I am. And this I am can assume any state, embody any quality, experience any reality that you choose to impress upon it. This is what the universe cares about, your I am, your pure consciousness, unconditioned and unlimited. Not your personal history, not your accumulated beliefs, but the pure, pristine awareness that is your true self. When you truly understand this, you are free. Free from limitation, free from fear, free from doubt. Free to assume any state of consciousness, to embody any quality, to experience any reality that you desire. But this freedom comes with responsibility. You are the author of your life story. You are the creator of your experience. Every state you assume, consciously or unconsciously, shapes your reality. There is no one to blame, no one to praise but yourself. All that befalls a man, all that is done by him, all that comes from him, is a result of his state of consciousness. This is not a burden, but a blessing. It means that you have the power to transform your life completely. It means that no circumstance, no condition, no person has power over you unless you give it power by your assumption. It means that you are free, truly, completely, eternally free. Now, my dear friends, let us explore a deeper dimension of this principle. The universe does not care about your individual ego, your separate self, your personal identity. It cares about the I am, the universal consciousness that expresses itself through you but is not limited to you. Your individual personality with its likes and dislikes, its preferences and aversions, its desires and fears is merely a mask worn by the universal I am. When you say I am, you are invoking the name of God, the universal consciousness that is the only reality. This universal I am can assume any state, express any quality, experience any reality. It is unlimited, unconditioned, infinite in its potential. When you truly understand this, you realize that your desires are not merely personal wants. They are the universal I am seeking expression through your individual consciousness. Your desire for wealth is not just a personal craving for money. It is the universal abundance seeking expression through you. Your desire for love is not just a personal longing for companionship. It is the universal love seeking expression through you. Your desire for health is not just a personal wish for physical well-being. It is the universal wholeness seeking expression through you. When you align your individual consciousness with these universal qualities, you become a clear channel for their expression. You do not need to force, struggle, or strive. You simply need to assume the state of consciousness that allows these qualities to flow through you naturally and effortlessly. This is what the universe cares about: your alignment with the universal consciousness, your expression of the divine qualities that are your true nature. Not your personal striving, not your ego's agenda, but your clear and faithful expression of the universal I am. The technique, again, is simple yet profound. Recognize that the quality you desire, be it wealth, love, health, or any other, is already fully present within you as part of the universal consciousness. It is not something to be acquired from outside. It is something to be expressed from within. Assume the state of consciousness that allows this quality to express itself through you. Feel yourself to be the embodiment of this quality. Live from this assumption regardless of appearances. When you do this, you are not engaging in fantasy or self-deception. You are aligning yourself with the deepest truth of your being. You are expressing what is eternally true of you as part of the universal consciousness. You are allowing the universal to flow through the individual, the infinite to express itself through the finite. This is the true meaning of manifestation. It is not about getting what you want. It is about expressing what you are. It is not about acquiring from outside. It is about expressing from within. It is not about becoming something new. It is about revealing what is eternally true of you. My dear friends, this principle applies to every area of your life. It applies to your relationships, your career, your health, your finances, your spiritual growth. In every dimension of your experience, the universe responds not to what you want, but to what you are, to your state of being, to your consciousness, to your I am. If you desire loving relationships, embody the consciousness of love. Feel yourself to be loving and loved. Express love in every interaction, not as a technique to get love, but as a natural expression of your true nature. The universe will respond by bringing you experiences that match this consciousness of love. If you desire abundance, embody the consciousness of abundance. Feel the naturalness of having more than enough. Express generosity not as a strategy to get more, but as a natural overflow of your inner wealth. The universe will respond by bringing you experiences that match this consciousness of abundance. If you desire health and vitality, embody the consciousness of wholeness. Feel the strength, energy, and well-being that are your natural state. Express life in every movement, every breath, every cell of your body. The universe was bound by bringing you experiences that match this consciousness of health. In every case, the key is the same: be before you can have. Embody before you can express. Assume the state of consciousness that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. The universe does not care about your wanting, your needing, your craving. It cares only about your being, your embodying, your expressing. This is what shapes your reality. This is what creates your experience. This is what determines your manifestation. Now, my dear wonderful friends, I wish to address a question that often arises. What about others? What about the people in your life? If your consciousness creates your reality, what role do others play in your experience? The answer may surprise you, for it challenges our conventional understanding of relationships. Every person in your experience is an aspect of yourself pushed out. They reflect your state of consciousness. They embody the qualities that you have assigned to them in your consciousness. This does not mean that others do not have their own existence, their own consciousness, their own free will. It means that your experience of others, your interaction with them, your relationship with them is determined by your consciousness of them. If you see others hostile, you will experience hostility. If you see others as loving, you will experience love. If you see others as generous, you will experience generosity. The universe does not care about what you want from others. It cares about how you see others in your consciousness. The technique for transforming relationships is the same as for transforming any other aspect of your experience. Assume the state of consciousness in which your desired relationship is already a fact. See the other person as already embodying the qualities you wish to experience from them. Feel the reality of this relationship. Live from this assumption, regardless of appearances. When you do this, you are not manipulating the other person. You are simply aligning your consciousness with a version of reality in which the relationship is as you desire it to be. The other person will either reflect this new consciousness, or they will move out of your experience and be replaced by someone who does reflect it. This is what the universe cares about: your consciousness of others, your assumption about them, your state of being in relation to them, not what you want from them, not what you think they should be, but how you see them in your consciousness. My dear friends, as we approach the conclusion of this lecture, I wish to emphasize a vital point. The principle we have explored tonight, that the universe responds not to what you want, but to what you are, is not merely a technique for getting things. It is a fundamental truth about the nature of reality. It is the way the cosmos operates. It is the law of being. When you align yourself with this law, when you live in harmony with this principle, you experience not just the fulfillment of your desires, but a profound sense of peace, power, and purpose. You recognize yourself as the author of your life story, the creator of your experience, the master of your destiny. But this mastery comes not from controlling external circumstances, not from manipulating events or people, but from controlling your own consciousness. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life, your consciousness, your state of the source of all that appears in your life. The great promise of this principle is freedom: freedom from limitation, freedom from fear, freedom from doubt, freedom to assume any state, to embody any quality, to experience any reality that you choose, freedom to be the person you truly desire to be, to live the life you truly desire to live, to create the world you truly desire to create. This freedom is your birthright. It is not something to be earned or achieved. It is something to be recognized and expressed. It is the natural result of understanding and applying the principle we have explored tonight. My dear friends, as you leave this lecture and return to your daily lives, I urge you to put this principle into practice. Do not merely believe it intellectually, live it experientially. Test it in the laboratory of your own consciousness. Apply it to every aspect of your life. Prove its truth by your own experience. Begin tonight. Before you sleep, select a desire, something you truly wish to experience in your life. Then, in the quiet of your own consciousness, assume the state that would be yours if this desire were already fulfilled. See it, feel it, experience it as already real. Fall asleep in this state, feeling the joy, the satisfaction, the fulfillment of your desire. Do this night after night with patience and persistence. Do not be discouraged by appearances, by temporary setbacks, by seeming failures. Remember, the seed must be planted before the harvest can be reaped. The state must be assumed consistently before it can manifest completely. And as you do this, watch for signs of your manifestation. Be alert to the little changes, the subtle shifts, the synchronicities that indicate your new state is beginning to express itself in your outer world. Express gratitude for these signs, for gratitude accelerates manifestation. It acknowledges that what you desire is already yours in consciousness and therefore must become yours in experience. Above all, maintain the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Live from the end. Be the person you wish to be. Experience the reality you wish to experience. Express the qualities you wish to express. The universe does not care about what you want. It cares about what you are. This is the key to manifesting your desires. This is the secret of creation. This is the law of being. My dear wonderful friends, it has been my great joy to share these principles with you tonight. I am confident that as you apply them in your life, you will experience transformations beyond your wildest dreams. For when you align your consciousness with the truth of your being, when you express your true nature as pure I am, the entire universe conspires to make your life a living testament to the power and the glory of consciousness. Remember always, consciousness is the only reality. All things exist within it. Nothing exists outside of it. Your consciousness is your reality. Change your consciousness, and you change everything. May the God in you bless and keep you. May the I am that is your true nature guide and protect you. May the universal consciousness that expresses itself through you bring you to the fulfillment of all your desires. And may you always live in the awareness that the universe does not care about what you want. It cares about what you are. This is the eternal truth that sets you free. In the depth of your own being, in the silence of your own heart, in the sanctuary of your own consciousness, dwell with this truth until it becomes the living reality of your experience. For it is written, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Think that the end, live from the end, and the end will become your present reality. I tell you that every test of faith you encounter is not a punishment, not a sign of abandonment, but rather evidence of your imminent expansion into greater states of being. There is an intelligence within you, call it God. Call it your wonderful human imagination that knows your capacity far better than your conscious mind ever could. Tonight I wish to share with you the profound truth that what appears as a test is actually preparation. What seems like delay is divine timing. What feels like loss is merely the clearing away of what can no longer serve your expanded state of consciousness. The nature of tests. Let us begin by examining what we mean by a test of faith. Many of you have been taught to view these tests as God's way of determining if you are worthy. This is not so. God, being your own wonderful human imagination, already knows all that you are and all that you can be. The test is not for God's information, but for your transformation. When you find yourself in circumstances where everything you believe seems challenged, where all external evidence contradicts your inner knowing, this is not God's doubt of you, but God's invitation to you. It is an invitation to rise above the world of effects and to stand firm in the world of cause, the world of imagination. Remember the words from Scripture. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This is not mere poetry. It is a precise description of the creative process. Faith is not blind hope. Faith is the actual substance, the spiritual material from which your desires are fashioned. When your faith is tested, the very substance of your creative power is being refined, purified, and strengthened. Just as gold must pass through fire to be purified, so must your faith pass through apparent contradictions to be strengthened. The law of assumption. I have taught you many times about the law of assumption. This law states that if you assume you are what you want to be and persist in that assumption, it must become fact in your world. This is not positive thinking. This is not mere affirmation. This is the creative power that spoke the worlds into being now operating through you. But what happens when you make your assumption and then face circumstances that seem to mock that assumption? What happens when you declare, I am wealthy, and then receive an unexpected bill? What happens when you declare, I am loved, and experience rejection? What happens when you declare, I am healthy, and symptoms persist? This, my dear friends, is the test. And how you respond to this test determines the speed and manner of your manifestation. Most people, when faced with contradictory evidence, abandon their assumption. They conclude that the law has failed, that their technique was flawed, or that they themselves are unworthy of their desire. But I tell you now, with the authority of experience, that this moment of contradiction is the most crucial point in your manifestation. When the world says no to your assumption, it is not a final answer. It is a question. Will you persist? Will you remain faithful to your imagination? Will you continue to sleep in the assumption of your wish fulfilled, even when all of your senses deny it? The biblical pattern. Look to Scripture, for this pattern is revealed throughout. Consider Joseph, who dreamed of greatness only to be sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned. Were these not tests of his faith? Yet every seeming setback was actually a setup for the fulfillment of his vision. Consider Moses, who was called to lead his people to freedom only to face a hardened Pharaoh and a seemingly impassable Red Sea. Was this not a test of faith? Yet these obstacles became the stage upon which God's power was most dramatically revealed. Consider David, anointed as king only to spend years running for his life from Saul. Was this not a test of faith? Yet this wilderness period prepared him to rule with wisdom and compassion. Consider the pattern of the entire Bible. It is the story of promises made, promises seemingly contradicted, and promises ultimately fulfilled in ways far greater than initially imagined. The mechanics of testing. Now let me explain to you the mechanics of these tests, for understanding transforms blind endurance into conscious cooperation. When you set a new assumption, you are essentially declaring a new state of consciousness. You are saying, this is who I am now. But your physical reality, your body, your circumstances, your relationships, these are all reflections of who you have been. They are the harvest of seeds planted in the past. There is therefore an interval between the planting of your new assumption and the manifestation of its corresponding reality. This interval is not empty time. It is filled with transition, with the dissolving of the old and the formation of the new. During this interval, two things occur simultaneously. First, the conditions that no longer match your new state begin to dissolve. This often appears as loss, as challenge, as the removal of what you once thought essential. Second, the conditions that do match your new state begin to form. This often appears first as subtle changes, intuitions, synchronicities, the barely perceptible evidence that the new reality is taking shape. Most people fix their attention on what is dissolving and miss what is forming. They interpret the dissolution of the old as failure rather than as necessary clearing. This misinterpretation leads them to abandon their assumption just when it is beginning to take root. The test then is whether you will focus on what is dying or what is being born. Will you identify with the dissolving past or the emerging future? Will you be faithful to your senses or to your imagination? The scale of preparation. Now let us consider why these tests come. and why they often seem proportional to the greatness of your desire. I tell you that the scale of the test is determined by the scale of the preparation required. If God is preparing you for something bigger, the preparation must match the expansion. Think of it this way. If you wish to move from a small apartment to a mansion, you would need to clear out possessions that wouldn't fit in your new home. You would need to adapt to new systems of maintenance. You would need to adjust to new neighbors and perhaps even a new concept of yourself as the owner of such a property. Similarly, if you are moving from a limited state of consciousness to an expanded one, there is preparation involved. Limiting beliefs must be cleared. Old habits must be released. Relationships that anchored you to your former self must either transform or dissolve. The greater the expansion, the more comprehensive the preparation. This is why those with the greatest visions often face the most significant challenges. It is not punishment. It is preparation. Consider the life of anyone who has achieved greatness in any field. Without exception, you will find periods of testing that preceded their breakthrough. These tests were not obstacles to their achievement. They were the very forge in which their achievement was fashioned. The rebirth process. What you are experiencing when your faith is tested is nothing less than a death and rebirth process. The limited self must die for the expanded self to be born. In John 12:24, Jesus expresses this principle beautifully. Very truly I tell you, unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds. Your old concept of self is the seed that must fall to the ground and die. The apparent loss, the confusion, the contradiction, these are all part of the dying process. But from this death comes multiplication, expansion, and abundance beyond what the single seed could contain. This is why Jesus also said, whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. He was not speaking of physical death, but of the surrender of limited identity for the sake of expanded being. When your faith is tested, you are being invited to lose your life, your limited concept of self, in order to find your life, your expanded awareness of who you truly are. The practical response to tests. How then should you respond when your faith is tested? Let me give you practical guidance. First, recognize the test for what it is: not punishment, not failure, but preparation and opportunity. This recognition alone will transform your experience. Second, double down on your assumption. When external evidence contradicts your inner knowing, that is precisely the moment to intensify your assumption. Do not merely maintain it, strengthen it. As darkness increases, so should your inner light. Third, look for the evidence of your assumption's fulfillment, no matter how small. There is always evidence if you train your eyes to see it. A synchronicity, a small improvement, a monadea, a moment of unexpected peace. These are the early sprouting of your manifestation. Fourth, use your imagination more vividly and more frequently. If you have been imagining your desire once a day, begin to do it 3 times. If you have been seeing it vaguely, begin to add detail. Make the colors brighter, the sounds clearer, the feelings more intense. Fifth, detach from the how and the timeline. The test often comes in the form of manifestation unfolding in a way you did not expect or on a schedule you did not anticipate. Your job is not to dictate the path or the timing, but to maintain the end, the state of wish fulfilled. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, find the gratitude in the present moment. Thanksgiving is the highest form of faith. To give thanks before the manifestation is visible is to truly live from the end. It is the ultimate declaration that your assumption is more real to you than your current circumstances. The greater purpose being prepared. Now let us consider what it means that God is preparing you for something bigger. What is this something bigger that awaits beyond the test? I tell you that the something bigger is not merely an improved circumstance. It is not just more money, better health, or a loving relationship, though it may include all of these. The something bigger is an expanded state of consciousness. God, your own wonderful human imagination is preparing you to occupy a state where you know yourself as the creator of your reality, where you move through life with the confident expectation of good, where you understand that external circumstances are not causes but effects of your inner state. This expanded consciousness is what Jesus referred to when he said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." It is a state where you no longer live in fearful reaction to the world, but in creative relationship with it. It is a state where you understand that all power has been given unto you in heaven and earth. The tests come not to determine if you deserve this state, but to develop in you the capacity to maintain it. For what good would it do to place you in an expanded state if you lack the spiritual musculature to remain there? The pattern in your own life. I invite you now to look at your own life and identify the pattern of tests and preparation. For this pattern has been unfolding since your birth, and once recognized, it becomes a source of tremendous confidence. Think of a significant manifestation in your life or relationship, a career achievement, a personal transformation. Now look back at the period preceding its appearance. Did you not experience tests of your faith? Did you not face circumstances that seemed to contradict your desire? Yet here you are, having moved through those tests into manifestation. The very fact that you have manifested anything at all is proof that you have already passed tests of faith. Now apply this understanding to your current tests. If you have manifested before, can you not manifest again? If you have moved through tests before, can you not move through them now? The God who tested and prepared you then is testing and preparing you now. And the something bigger that awaits you is as much greater than your current desire as your current reality is greater than what you once thought possible. The law of persistent assumption. I wish to share with you now what I call the law of persistent assumption, for it is the key to moving through tests of faith into manifestation. This law states any assumption persisted in, despite contradiction, must eventually harden into fact. Notice the crucial phrase, despite contradiction. This is where most fail. They make an assumption but abandon it at the first sign of contradiction. The law never had a chance to operate because persistence was lacking. But those who understand the mechanics of manifestation know that contradiction is not denial, it is opportunity. Every contradiction is an invitation to persist more firmly in your assumption. When you persist despite contradiction, you are doing something remarkable. You are choosing your imagination over your senses. You are declaring that what you see in imagination is more real, more substantial, more trustworthy than what you see with your physical eyes. This is precisely what Scripture means by walking by faith, not by sight. It is not blind optimism. It is clear-eyed recognition that imagination precedes and shapes physical reality. The test reveals whether you truly believe this. Do you believe that your imagination creates reality, or do you believe that reality dictates what you can imagine? Your response to contradiction answers this question. The biblical promise. Let me remind you of the promise given in Scripture, for it applies directly to these tests of faith. In 1 Corinthians 10:13 we read, "No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it." The word translated as temptation here can also be translated as test or trial. The promise is clear. You will never be tested beyond your capacity to endure, and within every test is embedded the means of its transcendence. This is why I tell you that the test itself contains the preparation. The very circumstances that seem to challenge your faith are actually strengthening it if you respond with persistent assumption rather than with doubt and abandonment. The way out is not escape from the test, but transcendence through it. It is the discovery within yourself of resources you did not know you possessed: patience, courage, creativity, and most of all, an unshakable knowing that what you imagine must manifest. The evidence in your senses. There comes a moment in every manifestation when the evidence begins to appear in your sensory world. This is a crucial juncture, for many stumble even here. When the first evidence appears, it rarely comes as a complete manifestation. More often it comes as a sign, a partial fulfillment, a hint of what is to come. Those who understand the law recognize these signs and give thanks for them, knowing that they are proof of the law's operation. But those who do not understand the law often dismiss these signs as coincidence or as too little too late. They continue to focus on what is still lacking rather than on what is beginning to appear. I tell you that the first evidence, no matter how small, is as significant as the full manifestation. It is confirmation that the bridge of incidence is being built between your current reality and your desired state. When you acknowledge and give thanks for this evidence, you accelerate the manifestation. You are declaring to your subconscious mind, to the God within you, that you recognize and appreciate the creative process at work. This thanksgiving does not come from a place of lack. Thank you for this little bit, but I still need more. It comes from a place of fulfillment. Thank you for this outer confirmation of what I have known inwardly all along. The ultimate test and preparation. Now I wish to share with you what I consider the ultimate test and preparation, the one that underlies all others. The ultimate test is this: can you see God in all things? Can you recognize that every circumstance, every person, every apparent obstacle is God in disguise, molding you, shaping you, preparing you? This is not abstract theology. This is practical spirituality. For when you truly see God in all things, you cease to fight against circumstances and begin to work with them. You cease to resist what is and begin to discover the gift within it. This does not mean passive acceptance of conditions you do not desire. It means active engagement with the divine purpose within those conditions. It means asking not, why is this happening to me? But what is this preparing me for? When you ask this better question, answers begin to appear. You discover that the difficult colleague is teaching you patience, that the financial constraint is teaching you creativity, that the health challenge is teaching you to value each day. These lessons are not incidental to your manifestation. They are integral to it. For the something bigger that God is preparing you for is not just a better circumstance, but a better you, more aware, more grateful, more aligned with your true nature as a created being. The role of surrender. There is a paradox at the heart of manifestation that becomes clear when we understand tests of faith. The paradox is this: to manifest what you desire, you must surrender the need for it. This is not contradiction, it is completion. You must be clear about what you desire and firm in your assumption of its fulfillment. But you must also release attachment to particular forms and timelines. Surrender is not giving up on your desire. It is giving up the limitations you have placed upon how that desire can manifest. It is trusting that the God within you knows better than your conscious mind how to bring about your good in ways that bless all concerned. This surrender is itself a test of faith. Can you trust the process even when it unfolds in unexpected ways? Can you recognize that the apparent delay or detour might be the most direct route to your manifestation from a higher perspective? Those who master this surrender discover a profound truth. What manifests often exceeds what they imagined. The relationship is more fulfilling, the career more satisfying, the solution more elegant than what they had consciously conceived. This is because your conscious desire is just the tip of the iceberg of the iceberg. Beneath it lies your desire for growth, for meaning, for connection, for alignment with your higher self. When you surrender, you allow the fulfillment of these deeper desires alongside your conscious ones. The community of faith. I wish to touch now on the importance of community during tests of faith, for we are not meant to walk this path alone. When your faith is tested, there is great value in connecting with others who understand the law and are practicing it. Their understanding supports yours. Their faith reinforces yours. Their testimonies remind you of what is possible. This is why I stand before you tonight sharing these principles. This is why we gather together. We are creating a community of faith, a collective field of consciousness that makes it easier for each of us to maintain our individual assumptions. In the presence of doubt, doubt flourishes. In the presence of faith, faith flourishes. Choose carefully, therefore, the company you keep during times of testing. Seek out those who will support your assumption, who will remind you of your plan till you momentarily forget it. And when you are strong, be that support for others. Share your testimonies, not to boast, but to bolster faith. Not to set yourself above, but to demonstrate what is possible for all. The eternal nature of the process. As we near the conclusion of our time together, I wish to share one more truth about tests of faith and preparation. It is this process never ends. It is not a one-time event, but an eternal unfolding. You will never reach a point where tests cease, where faith is no longer required, where preparation is complete. This is not because you are lacking or because the law is flawed. It is because expansion is the nature of life itself. As you successfully move through one test, you will set intentions for greater manifestations, which will require greater preparation, which will involve new tests. This is not a burden, it is a blessing. It is the mechanism through which infinite being experiences itself in ever-expanding ways through you. Those who resent this process remain stuck in cycles of frustration. Those who embrace it discover joy in the journey itself, not just in the destinations reached along the way. The invitation before you. And so, my dear friends, I leave you with this invitation. See the tests of faith in your life right now as evidence not of failure, but of imminent expansion. Recognize that these very circumstances that seem to challenge your faith are actually building your capacity for greater manifestation. Do not ask for easier tests, ask for stronger faith. Do not seek to avoid preparation, seek to embrace it fully, knowing that it precedes manifestation as surely as spring precedes summer. When doubt arises, and it will remind yourself that doubt too is part of the process. It is the final resistance of the old self before surrendering to the new. Welcome it, acknowledge it, and then gently return to your assumption. Remember that you are not alone in this process. The same God that tests your faith provides the strength to endure it. The same imagination that conceived your desire contains the power to manifest it. Above all, know that what awaits you on the other side of these tests is not merely the fulfillment of a particular desire, but an expanded awareness of who you truly are, a created being made in the image of God, with all power in heaven and earth given unto you. This is the something bigger for which you are being prepared. This is the prize that makes every test worthwhile. This is the truth that sets you free. And now, in the silence of your own being, I invite you to feel the reality of your desire as already fulfilled. Feel the gratitude, the joy, the love that accompanies this fulfillment. Let this feeling sink deep into your consciousness, knowing that as you assume this state faithfully, persistently, despite all contradiction, it must harden into fact in your world. For this is the law, and the law is certain. This is the promise, and the promise is sure. This is the truth, and the truth has set you free. Thank you, and God bless you all. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. These words from Scripture reveal the greatest secret ever told. For your consciousness, your awareness, your assumption is the only reality. The world that appears outside of you is nothing more than the outpicturing of your essence made visible. What you are experiencing now, at this very moment, is simply the harvest of seeds previously planted in the fertile soil of your imagination. Tonight, I shall reveal to you the divine art of assumption, the method by which you may act as if you already possess that which you desire, and through this assumption, command the invisible forces of creation to reshape your world according to your will. The law of assumption. The first and most fundamental truth I wish to impress upon you is this: assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Let me repeat that eternal principle: assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. What does this mean? It means that when you assume you are what you want to be, and continue in that assumption, you will become it in this physical world. When you assume you have what you desire, and persist in that feeling, it must externalize itself in your experience. This is not magic, not some mystical phenomenon separate from the natural laws of the universe. This is the very process of creation itself, the same process by which all that exists came into being. In the beginning was the Word. The Word, consciousness, imagination, assumption precedes all manifestation. Your physical senses tell you what is, but your imagination tells you what can be. And in the realm of creation, what can be imagined as real becomes real in your world. The secret of imagining, I tell you, is the greatest of all problems, to the solution of which the mystic aspires. When you grasp that your consciousness is the one and only reality, you will know that the world you experience is determined by the concept you hold of yourself. Change your concept of self, and you change your world. The creative power of your assumption. Let me illustrate this principle with a simple truth. There is no difference between imagining and what you call reality, except in degree of vividness. The world you perceive is not caused by what exists external to you. Rather, what appears external to you is caused by your state of consciousness. The world, as Neville has often told you, is a mirror wherein everyone sees himself reflected. The conditions and activities of your life are the direct reproduction of your inner states. Nothing appears by chance. Your assumption, your feeling, your dominant state externalizes itself. As within, so without. Consider the words found in Scripture. What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them. This is not a promise of some future attainment. It is the revelation of an immediate possession. Believe that you receive them now in the present moment. This is the secret of acting as if. You must assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, not tomorrow, not next week, not when circumstances appear favorable, but now. In the absence of physical evidence, in the face of contradictory appearances, you must dare to assume the feeling of already being, already having that which you seek to manifest. For the feeling is the secret, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your feeling is your faith, and according to your faith is it done unto you. The assumption of the wish fulfilled. The technique is simple, though its implications are profound. You must first clarify in your mind exactly what you would feel if you were already the person you wish to be, if you already possess that which you desire to possess. Then, having identified this feeling, you must enter into it completely. You must saturate your consciousness with it. You must think from the end, not of the end. This distinction is crucial. To think from the end is to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is to experience now what you would experience then. Let me share with you a technique that has proven most effective. Each night as you lie in your bed, just before sleep claims you, assume that you are already that which you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of it. Feel the reality of it. Feel the solidity of it. Then fall asleep in this state. In sleep, man is shut out from the world of the senses. In sleep, his conscious, reasoning mind is no longer active. In this state, your assumption will sink deep into the subconscious, where all changes must first occur before they can manifest in your outer world. What thou seest that thou be, as you fall asleep feeling yourself to be a particular person, you will awaken being that person. While men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat. Sleep in the assumption of your wish fulfilled and allow no negative thoughts, no tares to be sown in the fertile field of your subconscious mind. The law of reversibility. There exists in nature what I call the law of reversibility. This law states that by consciously assuming the feeling of that which you wish to be or to have, and persisting in that assumption, you will experience in the outer world the conditions implied in that assumption. If I desire wealth, I must assume the feeling of wealth. If I desire health, I must assume the feeling of health. If I desire love, I must assume the feeling of being loved. Whatever state I assume and continue to occupy, that state I will objectify in my world. This law of reversibility is demonstrated throughout Scripture, though few have eyes to see it. Go thy way, thy son liveth. The father believed the words that Jesus spoke to him. He assumed health for his son, though his son was miles away and critically ill. And when he returned home, he found his son had been healed at the exact hour that Jesus had spoken to him. This is the law of reversibility in action. The feeling with faith objectifies itself. That is the law. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine with faith becomes your reality. The distinction between wishing and assuming. Mark well the distinction between wishing and assuming. To wish for something is to acknowledge that you do not possess it. It affirms lack, separation, and absence. To assume, however, is to appropriate the consciousness of already having that which you desire. It affirms possession, unity, and presence. Many pray to an external deity, begging for intervention, imploring for mercy or favor. But I tell you, the kingdom of God is within you. The creative power, the only God there is, exists within your own consciousness. Prayer is not begging. Prayer is not supplication. True prayer is assumption, the feeling of already being or having that which you desire. It is thanksgiving before the evidence of physical senses. It is faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. When you pray, do not say, God, please give me this or that. Rather, feel, thank you, other, that I now have this or that. Feel the gratitude that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. This is the true meaning of, before they call, I will answer. The redemptive function of imagination. Imagination is not a state, it is the very existence of man. The eternal body of man is the imagination that is God himself. Your imagination is the very gateway to infinity, the portal through which the unmanifest becomes manifest. When you consciously direct your imagination, you are exercising the divine prerogative of creation. The world and all within it are phenomena of the imagination. Nothing exists outside of awareness. All that appears to you as reality first had to be conceived in someone's imagination. Your imagination is redemptive. Through it, you can be born anew, not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the wish, but of God, of the creative consciousness that is your true identity. When you imagine yourself as the person you wish to be, and persist in that imagination until it feels natural to you, you are literally bringing about a rebirth of yourself. You are putting off the old man and putting on the new. This is not metaphor. This is the actual process of transformation. The natural use of the law. Now, let me address a concern that often arises when this law is first understood. Some fear that if imagination creates reality, then mankind might use this power for destructive purposes. But let me assure you, the law itself neutralizes all negative uses of the creative power. For to sustain an assumption, you must feel it to be natural. And no man can feel natural in a state that violates his innate sense of justice. You may temporarily enter into an unlovely assumption, but you cannot abide there. The tension between such an assumption and your divine nature will eventually force you to abandon it. The law itself ensures that in the end, only the good, the beautiful, and the true can endure. For only these states can be felt as natural to man, who in his essence is the image and likeness of God. When you use the law naturally, you use it lovingly. You do not seek to take from another or to harm another. You simply assume the consciousness of already being what you want to be, of already having what you want to have. And in that assumption, you discover that there is enough for all, that creation is infinite, that limitation exists only in the minds of those who believe in limitation. The sevenfold nature of man. Man is a sevenfold being. He has within him 7 states of consciousness, 7 levels of awareness. Most live their entire lives utilizing only the lowest 3, corresponding to the physical body, the vital energies, and the lower emotions. But the law of assumption calls upon you to activate the higher states, the heart center of divine love, the throat center of divine expression, the brow center of divine vision, and the crown center of a divine unity. As you ascend in consciousness through the power of assumption, these dormant centers awaken, bringing with them new faculties, new perceptions, and new powers. Be ye perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. This command is not impossible of fulfillment. It is simply calling you to awaken to your true nature, to assume the feeling of being perfect, whole, complete, as God is. And as you persist in this assumption, the evidence of your transformation will appear in your world. The pruning shears of revision. If you have made mistakes in the past, if your life up to this point has not reflected the glory that you are capable of manifesting, do not despair, for you have at your disposal what I call the pruning shears of revision. Each night, before you sleep, review the events of your day. Where you have fallen short, revise the scene in your imagination. See it not as it occurred, but as you would have liked it to occur. Feel the naturalness of this revised version. Then, fall asleep in this revised state. The vision of Christ that thou dost see is my vision's greatest enemy. Do not accept the evidence of your senses as final. Do not bow before the dictates of memory. You have the power to revise the past in your imagination. And as you do, you rewrite the script of your life. What you revise in imagination with feeling, you experience in reality. This is not fantasy or escapism. This is the creative use of the one power that shapes all manifestation, your consciousness. The pearl of great price. The knowledge I share with you tonight is the pearl of great price, the treasure hidden in a field. It is worth selling all that you have, all your limiting beliefs, all your negative assumptions, all your fears and doubts, to possess it. For when you truly grasp the power of assumption, when you begin to consciously apply it in your life, you will discover that you are the author of your destiny, the creator of your universe. You will know with absolute certainty that the world you experience is simply your consciousness pushed out. I am the resurrection and the life. These words, attributed to Jesus, reveal the true identity of every man and woman. For the I am in you, your own wonderful human imagination, is the resurrection and the life. It can resurrect you from the grave of limitation and breathe new life into your circumstances. When you say, I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, you are literally reshaping your reality according to these assumptions. For I am is God's name, the creative power of the universe. And whatever you attach to I am, you bind to your experience. The Sabbath of life. There comes a point in the application of the law where effort ceases. This is the Sabbath, the day of rest. When your assumption feels completely natural to you, when you no longer have to remind yourself to think from the end, when your new state has been fully accepted by your subconscious mind, then you have entered the Sabbath. In this state, manifestation occurs effortlessly. You do not make it happen. You allow it to happen. Having planted the seed of assumption in the fertile soil of your subconscious, you now watch it grow of its own accord. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who casts seed upon the ground and would sleep and rise night and day, and the seed would sprout and grow. He knows not how. This is the perfect description of the process. You cast the seed, your assumption. Then you sleep, you rest in the certainty that the seed will grow. And it does grow through a process that appears mysterious to the rational mind, but is perfectly natural to the acclimation imagination. The intervention of faith. Faith is essential to the successful application of the law of assumption. But faith is not something you acquire. It is something you acquire. Faith is simply the consciousness of already being or having what you desire. It is assumption sustained. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, your sustained assumption, is the actual substance of that which you desire. It is the evidence perceivable by your spiritual senses, though not yet by your physical senses, that your desire is already fulfilled. Many fail in the application of the law because they constantly check for external evidence. They plant the seed of assumption one moment, then dig it up the next to see if it has grown. This vacillation prevents the seed from taking root. Have faith in the unseen reality of your assumption. Know that the invisible always precedes the visible, that the ideal always precedes the actual, that the spiritual always precedes the material. Trust the process implicitly, and in divine timing, at an hour you think not, your assumption will harden into fact. The art of detachment. While persistence in your assumption is necessary, attachment to specific outcomes can hinder manifestation. This seems paradoxical, but it is a profound truth. You must assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, but then detach from how it will manifest. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means trusting in the perfect outworking of the law. It means surrendering the how to the infinite intelligence that orchestrates the universe. Your responsibility is the what, the assumption. The how belongs to God. My ways are not your ways, neither are my thoughts your thoughts. The bridge of incidents that leads from your present state to your desired state may not follow the path you would consciously choose, but it will be the perfect path specifically designed for you by the wisdom of your own deeper self. Practice detachment by focusing solely on the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not on the process by which it will come about. Trust that once you have assumed the consciousness of already being, or having what you desire, the way will open before you. The cosmic response to a mere assumption. What happens when you successfully assume a new state of consciousness? The entire universe rearranges itself to accommodate your new concept of self. This is not hyperbole. It is the literal truth. All things work together for good to them that love God. When you love God, when you align yourself with the creative principle through assumption, all things in your universe conspire to externalize that assumption. People, circumstances, events, the entire fabric of your reality shifts to reflect your new state. This occurs because in truth, there is no out there separate from your consciousness. The world you perceive is your consciousness projected. Change your consciousness, and you change your world, not metaphorically, but actually. Many have experienced this phenomenon. They assumed a new state, perhaps of wealth, health, or love, and suddenly people began treating them differently. Opportunities appeared that had not been there before. Circumstances arranged themselves in ways that facilitated the manifestation of their desire. This is the cosmic response to Pianshin, the living proof in experience. I do not ask you to believe what I tell you tonight simply because I say it is so. I ask you to test it in the laboratory of your own life. For truth is not truth until it is proven in experience. Take a situation in your life that you wish to change. Perhaps it is financial lack, physical illness, or a troubled relationship. Now, clearly define what you would experience if this condition were transformed according to your desire. How would you feel? What would you see? What would you hear? What would you touch and taste? Having clearly defined this state, enter into it fully in your imagination. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. See from this state, not looking at it as something distant or separate from you. Experience it as a present reality. Then go about your daily life, but maintain this assumption. Think and act from this new state. When doubts arise, as they inevitably will, gently return to your assumption. Persist until it feels natural, until it feels more real to you than the evidence of your senses. Then observe what happens in your world. Notice how people respond to you differently. Notice how circumstances begin to change. Notice how coincidences occur that move you toward the fulfillment of your desire. This will be your living proof of the power of assumption. The divine nature of man. Why does the law of assumption work? Because man in his true essence is divine. Know ye not that ye are gods? This statement from Scripture is not blasphemy. It is the revelation of man's true identity. Your consciousness is God in action. Your I am is the same I am that spoke to Moses from the burning bush. I am that I am. This is the foundation of all creation, the eternal, unchanging reality behind all manifestation. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. And whatever you attach to that divine name becomes your experience. I am is the door through which your assumptions pass into expression. This is why assumption is so powerful. When you assume I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved, you are not merely engaging in positive thinking. You are actually appropriating the creative power that shapes worlds. You are exercising your divine prerogative as a son or daughter of God. The one consciousness. There is only one consciousness in the universe. This consciousness individualizes itself as the human imagination, but its essence remains undivided. I and my Father are one. Your consciousness and God's consciousness are one consciousness. This truth has profound implications for the law of assumption. It means that when you assume a state, you are not somehow manipulating external forces. You are aligning yourself with the one power that creates and sustains all things. Moreover, it means that what you assume for yourself affects the whole. No man is an island. Your consciousness is connected to all consciousness. When you elevate your own consciousness through assumption, you contribute to the elevation of all consciousness. This is why the practice of assumption is not selfish or self-centered, even when focused on personal desires. For as you transform yourself through assumption, you transform your world, and your world is part of the world of all beings. The end of manifestation. What is the ultimate purpose of the law of assumption? Is it merely to acquire material possessions, physical health, or harmonious relationships? These are worthy desires, and the law will bring them to you if you apply it correctly. But there is a higher purpose. The ultimate end of the law of assumption is the full realization of your divine nature. It is the complete awakening to who and what you really are. It is the resurrection from the grave of material consciousness into the light of spiritual consciousness. As you practice the law, you will discover that your desires change. That which once seemed so important may lose its appeal. You will find yourself naturally assuming states of higher consciousness, states of love, compassion, wisdom, and service. This transformation occurs because as you prove the law in experience, you come to know yourself as the operant power in your universe. And with this knowledge comes the responsibility to use your created consciousness for the highest good of all. The promise fulfilled. Scripture tells us, behold, I make all things new. This is the promise of the law of assumption. Through the conscious direction of your imagination, you can make all things new in your life. The past does not determine the future, except to the extent that you continue to assume the same states that created your past. Change your assumption and you change your future. It is as simple and as profound as that. Let the weak say, I am strong. This is not positive thinking. It is the revelation of a principle. When the weak man says, I am strong, and persists in that assumption until it feels natural, he will become strong. The assumption precedes and determines the fact. Your life is the harvesting of assumptions previously planted. If you do not like what you are harvesting, plant new assumptions. Act as if you are already what you want to be, already have what you want to have. Feel the naturalness of it, the reality of it. And in the appointed hour, your assumption will blossom into fact. The pattern on the mount. In Scripture, we find the instruction, see that thou make all things according to the pattern showed to thee in the mount. The mount is the highest point of consciousness, the state of full awareness of your creative power. From this elevation, you are shown the pattern, the ideal state that you desire to manifest. This pattern is not something external to you, it is within your own consciousness. It is your conception of yourself as you would like to be. Make all things according to this pattern. Conform your thinking, your feeling, your actions to it. Let your entire being resonate with it. This is the essence of acting as if, seeing from the mountaintop, and bringing that vision into expression in the valley of manifestation. Those who have climbed this mount and seen the pattern have returned to transform the world. They are the artists, the inventors, the discoverers, the reformers, the visionaries who first imagined what could be, then acted as if it already were, until their assumption hardened into fact. You are called to join their ranks. You are called to ascend the mount of revelation, to see the pattern of your ideal life, and to make all things according to that pattern through the power of assumption. The silent prayer. As we draw to the close of our discussion tonight, I would like to share with you what I call the silent prayer. This is not an appeal to an external deity, but a recognition of your true identity and creative power. I am that I am. I am the Lord, and there is no other. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the vine, and you are the branches. Repeat these statements slowly, feeling their truth, allowing them to sink deep into your consciousness. For these are not merely affirmations, they are the revelation of who you really are. When you say, I am that I am, you are acknowledging your oneness with the creative principle of the universe. You are accepting your divine heritage as a creator, as one who shapes reality through consciousness. This silent prayer, repeated with understanding and feeling, will gradually transform your entire being. It will awaken you to your true nature and purpose. It will reveal to you the limitless power that has been yours from the beginning. The final word. My beloved friends, the hour grows late, but the truth I have shared with you tonight is timeless. It has always been so, though hidden from those without eyes to see or ears to hear. You have been given the master key to life's mysteries, the law of assumption. With it, you can unlock any door, overcome any obstacle, fulfill any desire that springs from the depths of your being. Remember, assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. This is the creative law of the universe, the process by which all that exists came into being. Go forth from this place transformed by what you've heard. Apply the law consciously and consistently in your life. Act as if you are already the person you wish to be. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Live from the end, not toward it. And as you do, you will discover the truth of the words. All things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive. For prayer is assumption, belief is the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and received is the inevitable manifestation of that which you have assumed. The choice is yours, the power is yours, the kingdom is yours. For the kingdom of heaven is within you. It is your own wonderful human imagination, awakening your conscious direction. I leave you with this final thought. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. Free yourself from this delusion, and you free yourself from all limitation. Act as if you already are what you wish to be, and that you shall be. This is the promise. This is the law. This is the truth that will set you free. The world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. As you assume, so shall your life become. This is the mystery and the wonder of existence. This is the art and science of conscious creation. This is the revelation of the ages, now delivered into your hands. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly. Use it now. And watch as the invisible becomes visible, as the ideal becomes actual, as the spiritual becomes material, as your assumption hardens into fact. For this is the divine art of manifestation, the sacred science of creation, the eternal process by which thought becomes thing and dreams become reality. And now, my friends, I release you to your divine destiny to act as if, to assume the best, to manifest your highest vision through the transformative power of assumption. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Go forth and be what you wish to be. Go forth and have what you wish to have. Go forth and experience what you wish to experience. For you are the resurrection and the life. You are the way, the truth, and the life. You are that which you are seeking. And in the conscious recognition of this eternal truth lies your freedom, your power, and your peace. Many of you sit here tonight feeling that life has somehow passed you by, that opportunities have been missed, that you are running behind schedule in the grand scheme of things. You look at others who seem to have achieved their desires sooner, who manifested their dreams with apparent ease. And you wonder, why not me? Why have I been delayed? I am here to tell you with absolute conviction that you have not been delayed at all. What you have interpreted as delay has actually been divine preparation. In the grand symphony of creation, there is no such thing as delay. There is only perfect timing. And this perfect timing is orchestrated not by some external deity sitting on a distant throne, but by the God that dwells within you, your own wonderful human imagination. For God and your imagination are one and the same. Let us begin by understanding a fundamental truth. The world that you perceive outside of yourself is nothing more than a reflection, a shadow, an echo of your own consciousness. It is not causative, it is an effect. The only creative power in this universe is consciousness, is imagination. All that you behold, said William Blake, though it appears without, it is within, in your imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. So when you look at your life and see what appears to be delay, what you are truly seeing is the outpicturing of your own consciousness in its process of preparation. God, your own wonderful human imagination, has been preparing you for this very moment, this precise juncture in time when you are ready to receive and express your desires in their fullest form. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible, a story not of literal history, but of psychological truth. Joseph was given dreams of greatness, visions of his brothers bowing before him. Yet what followed these dreams? Years of apparent setback and delay. He was thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned. From the limited perspective of human reasoning, these experiences would appear to be terrible delays and detours. But from the higher perspective of divine wisdom, they were necessary preparations. Each seeming setback was actually a setup for Joseph's ultimate triumph. His time in Potiphar's house taught him management. His time in prison taught him discernment. And when the moment finally came for him to interpret Pharaoh's dream and rise to a position of power, he was prepared in ways he could never have been without those experiences that seemed on the surface to be delays. My dear friends, I say to you now, your life has followed the same pattern. What you have interpreted as delay has actually been divine preparation. The God within you has been orchestrating every experience, every seeming setback, every apparent detour to prepare you for this very moment. Now let us explore the true nature of time. In our physical world, we perceive time as linear, a straight line stretching from past to present to future. But in the realm of imagination, in the realm of God, time is not linear at all. All moments exist simultaneously in what we might call the eternal now. When you enter the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desire fulfilled, you are not working against time or trying to accelerate a process that is taking too long. Rather, you are simply selecting from infinite possibilities the version of reality in which your desire is already fulfilled. You are not waiting for something to happen in time. You are choosing which completed reality to experience. This understanding transforms your relationship with what you have perceived as delay. If all possible states exist now, and your task is simply to occupy the state of your desire fulfilled, then the concept of delay becomes meaningless. There is only the state you are currently occupying in consciousness and the state you wish to occupy. The movement between these states is not governed by time, but by your ability to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled. I want to share with you a principle that has transformed countless lives, including my own. It is the principle of revision. Revision is the art of reinterpreting your past from the vantage point of your present understanding. And tonight, I invite you to revise your entire understanding of what you have called delay in your life. Take all those experiences that seem to hold you back, that appear to be obstacles in your path, that you interpreted as signs that you were somehow running behind schedule in life, and revise them. See them now, not as delays, but as essential preparations. See God, your own wonderful human imagination, carefully orchestrating each experience to prepare you for this moment. The job you didn't get, it wasn't a delay, it was preparation for a better position that required you to develop specific skills first. The relationship that didn't work out, it wasn't a delay, It was preparation for a deeper connection that needed you to learn important lessons about yourself. The project that failed, it wasn't a delay, it was preparation for success that required you to refine your approach. In the first chapter of Ecclesiastes, we read, "That which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which it may be said, see, this is new? It has already been in ancient times before us." This scripture reveals the eternal nature of all experience. Your desire, the state you wish to occupy, already exists. It is not something that must be created anew or that must unfold over time. It already is. Your task is not to create it, but to enter into it through the doorway of assumption. Let me tell you about a friend of mine who came to me feeling that life had passed him by. He was in his 50s and had not achieved the financial success he had always dreamed of. He felt delayed, left behind, as he watched others achieve what seemed to elude him. I shared with him this principle we're discussing tonight, that what appears as delay is actually divine preparation. I asked him to take a few moments each night before sleep to revise his understanding of his past, to see each seeming failure not as delay, but as preparation, to recognize that God, his own wonderful human imagination, had been preparing him through each experience for the perfect expression of his desire. After 3 weeks of this practice, he called me, excitement evident in his voice. He had received an opportunity that perfectly combined all the skills he had developed through his various failed ventures over the years. An opportunity that would have been impossible for him to fulfill had he not had exactly the life experiences he had. What he had seen as delay was revealed to be perfect preparation. My dear friends, this is the truth of your life as well. The divine wisdom within you has been orchestrating your path with perfect precision. There has been no delay. There has only been preparation. Now let us discuss how you can apply this understanding practically in your daily life. The first step is to completely revise your concept of time. Release the idea that you are working against the clock, that opportunities have passed you by, that you must hurry to catch up with some imagined schedule. Instead, recognize that the only time that matters is the eternal now of imagination. In this eternal now, your task is simply to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to live from the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desire already achieved, to be in imagination what you wish to be in what you call reality. The second step is to practice what I call mental dieting. Just as you would carefully monitor what foods you put into your physical body, if you are preparing for peak physical performance, so too must you monitor what thoughts you allow into your mental body as you prepare for peak manifestation. From this moment forward, refuse to entertain any thought that contradicts the truth we have discussed tonight. When the suggestion arises that you have been delayed, recognize it as a false interpretation and mentally revise it. Replace it with the truth. I have not been delayed. God has been preparing me for this moment. This mental diet is crucial because what you feed grows and what you starve disappears. Feed the concept of divine preparation and it will grow in your consciousness. Starve the concept of delay and it will fade away. The third step is to practice what I call living from the end. This means that you must mentally and emotionally occupy the state of your desire fulfilled now in your imagination. Feel the reality of it. Experience the joy, the gratitude, the satisfaction of having already achieved or received what you desire. When you live from the end in this way, you are not trying to manipulate external events to conform to your wishes. Rather, you are shifting your consciousness to the state that corresponds to those wishes already fulfilled. And since the external world is simply a reflection of your consciousness, it must, by spiritual law, reconfigure itself to match the state you are occupying. Let me illustrate this with a simple example. Imagine that you desire promotion at work. The conventional approach would be to work harder, to impress your superiors, to strategize and plan how to achieve this promotion over time. And in that approach, there would always be the possibility of delay, of things not happening as quickly as you wish. But the approach I am suggesting is entirely different. Instead of focusing on the process of getting from where you are to where you want to be, you simply occupy in consciousness the state of already having received the promotion. You feel the satisfaction of it. You mentally hear colleagues congratulating you. You imagine the increased responsibility and compensation as if they are already yours. When you do this, you are not working against time or trying to accelerate a process. You are simply selecting from infinite possibilities the version of reality in which your promotion has already occurred. And as you consistently occupy this state in consciousness, the outer world must reshape itself to match your inner assumption. This approach transcends the entire concept of delay. There is no delay in selecting which state of consciousness to occupy. It is an instantaneous choice. The only factor that determines how quickly your outer world reflects this choice is the consistency and intensity with which you occupy the chosen state. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've been trying to manifest my desires for years. If there's no such thing as delay, why haven't they appeared in my physical reality? This is a fair question, and it brings us to a deeper understanding of the manifestation process. The key lies in the word trying. When you are trying to manifest something, you are operating from a state of not having it. You are affirming through your very effort that what you desire is absent and must be attained. This state of consciousness, the state of absence and effort, is what manifests in your reality, not the thing you are trying to attain. True manifestation occurs not through effort but through assumption. You must not try to make your desire happen. You must assume that it already has happened. This subtle but crucial difference is what separates those who manifest their desires quickly from those who experience what appears to. Let us examine this principle through the lens of Scripture. In Mark 11:24, Jesus, who I understand not as a historical figure, but as a symbol of the divine imagination within each of us, says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Note the tense of the verbs here. It does not say believe that you will receive it. It says believe that you have received it. This is the key to transcending the illusion of delay. You must believe in the present perfect tense that what you desire has already been given to you. And from that state of consciousness, the outer manifestation must follow. My dear friends, in this eternal moment, God, your own wonderful human imagination, is calling you to a higher understanding. An understanding that transcends the limited perspective that interprets life's journey in terms of delay and disappointment. You have not been delayed. Every moment of your life has been precisely orchestrated to prepare you for this moment. The moment you are ready to fully embrace and express your desires in their perfect form. The moment when your consciousness has matured to the point where it can hold and sustain the state that corresponds to your wish fulfilled. I want to share with you now a technique that will help you integrate this understanding at a deep level. It is a technique I call the retrospective method. Each night before you sleep, I want you to mentally review your day, but from a special vantage point. I want you to imagine that you are looking back on this day from the perspective of having already achieved your desire. For example, if your desire is for financial abundance, you would look back on today as if you were already financially abundant. You might think, how wonderful that on that day, even though I had not yet seen the full manifestation of my wealth, God was preparing me. That book one read, that person I met, that idea that came to me, all of it was divine preparation for the abundance I now enjoy. This retrospective view accomplishes two powerful things. First, it reframes your present experiences as meaningful preparation rather than frustrating delay. Second, it places you in consciousness, in the state of your desire fulfilled, looking back on your journey rather than looking forward with uncertainty. Practice this technique consistently, and you will find that your entire relationship with time and manifestation begins to transform. The sense of being delayed or behind schedule will dissolve, replaced by a profound appreciation for the perfect unfolding of your life's journey. Now let us address another aspect of this principle, the role of divine timing. While it is true that in the realm of imagination all states exist simultaneously, the expression of these states in our three-dimensional reality does involve what appears to be time. This is not because manifestation itself takes time, but because our consciousness requires time to fully adjust to and stabilize in a new state. Think of it this way. If you have spent years occupying a state of consciousness characterized by limitation, lack, or delay, your mental muscles have been conditioned to maintain that state. When you decide to shift to a state of abundance, fulfillment, and divine timing, those mental muscles need to be reconditioned. And this reconditioning process appears, from our human perspective, to take time. But here's the crucial distinction. This is not delay. This is development. Just as a seed planted in the ground is not delayed in becoming a tree, it is developing according to divine law. So too is your manifestation developing according to the law of your consciousness. The oak tree already exists within the acorn, not as a miniature tree, but as a pattern of development, a blueprint of becoming. Similarly, the fulfillment of your desire already exists within your consciousness, not as a miniature version of what will one day be, but as a pattern of development that is unfolding with perfect precision. When you understand this, you can release all anxiety, all frustration, all sense of being delayed. You can rest in the absolute assurance that what appears as time passing is actually the perfect unfoldment of your manifestation according to divine law. In the second chapter of Habakkuk we read, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." This scripture contains a seeming contradiction. It says both though it tarry and it will not tarry. But the contradiction dissolves when you understand the principle we're discussing. From the limited human perspective focused on external events, the manifestation may appear to tarry or delay. But from the higher perspective of divine law, it is not delaying at all. It is unfolding with perfect precision, neither too soon nor too late. My dear friends, I want to share with you now a personal experience that illustrates this principle. Years ago, I desired to share these teachings with a wider audience. I imagined myself speaking to large groups, writing books that would touch many lives, having a profound impact on how I understood the power of imagination. But for a time, nothing seemed to happen externally. I continued to study, to practice, to refine my understanding. From a limited perspective, I might have interpreted this as delay. But inwardly, I knew better. I knew that God, my own wonderful human imagination, was preparing me for the perfect expression of this desire. I continued to live from the end, to occupy in consciousness the state of being a successful teacher and author. I mentally heard the congratulations of friends, felt the satisfaction of helping others, experienced the joy of sharing these principles widely. And then, at what I now recognize as the perfect moment, when my consciousness had fully matured into the state I desired, opportunities to speak arose. The books began to flow through me. The impact I had imagined began to materialize in the lives of those I taught. What might have been interpreted as delay was revealed to be divine preparation. Every moment of study, every practice session, every refinement of understanding was necessary for the full and perfect expression of my desire. And so it is with you, my dear friends. What you have interpreted as delay in your life has actually been divine preparation. God, your own wonderful human imagination, has been orchestrating every experience to prepare you for this very moment. This moment now is when you are ready to fully receive and express your desire. This moment now is the appointed time for your vision to speak and not lie. This moment now is the culmination of all that has come before and the beginning of all that will follow. As we begin to conclude our discussion tonight, I want to emphasize a crucial point. The principle we've explored is not merely a philosophical concept to be intellectually understood. It is a living truth to be embodied and expressed in your daily experience. From this moment forward, I invite you to completely abandon the concept of delay in your life. Remove it from your vocabulary, both spoken and unspoken. When the suggestion arises that you have been delayed or are behind schedule, recognize it. And as a misinterpretation of divine preparation, replace that misinterpretation with the truth: I have not been delayed. God has been preparing me for this moment. Feel the shift in your emotional state as you embrace this understanding. Feel the release of frustration and anxiety. Feel the influx of peace and assurance. This shift in consciousness is not merely a psychological technique for feeling better about your circumstances. It is a fundamental realignment with the truth of your being that will transform how your life unfolds from this moment forward. When you truly understand that there is no delay, only divine preparation, you step out of the limited perspective of human reasoning and into the unlimited perspective of divine wisdom. From this perspective, everything in your life, every experience, every encounter, every seeming setback is viewed as a necessary and perfect part of your journey. This understanding does not lead to passive acceptance of undesired circumstances. On the contrary, it empowers you to actively participate in the creative process by consciously choosing which state to occupy in imagination. But it does release you from the frustration and anxiety that come from fighting against what appears to be delay. In the final analysis, time itself is a construct of consciousness. Einstein's theory of relativity has shown that time is not an absolute, but is relative to the observer. What quantum physics has discovered scientifically, mystics and spiritual teachers have known intuitively for centuries. Time is fluid, malleable, responsive to consciousness. Your experience of time, whether it seems to drag with delay or flow with divine precision, is determined by the state of consciousness you occupy. When you live in the state of your desire fulfilled, time becomes your servant rather than your master. The manifestation of your desire occurs not according to some external timetable, but according to the law of your consciousness. My dear friends, as we conclude our discussion tonight, I want to leave you with a practical application of everything we've explored. Tomorrow, as you go about your day, I want you to consciously interpret every experience, particularly those that might previously have seemed like obstacles or delays, as divine preparation. The traffic jam that makes you late for a meeting, divine preparation, perhaps saving you from an accident further down the road, or aligning you with the person you need to meet who would not have been there at your originally scheduled arrival time. The project that takes longer than expected to complete, divine preparation, allowing for the refinement and perfection that make it far more impactful than it would have been in its hastier form. The opportunity that goes to someone else instead of you. Divine preparation, freeing you for a better opportunity that requires you to be available at precisely the moment it appears. As you practice this consciousness throughout your day, you will find that your entire relationship with time begins to transform. The sense of being rushed, of running behind, of missing out, all of these fall away, replaced by a profound trust in the perfect unfolding of your life according to divine law. And in this transformed relationship with time, you will discover a new freedom. Freedom from the anxiety of deadlines, the pressure of expectations, the frustration of perceived delays. Freedom to fully inhabit each moment as the perfect expression of divine wisdom. This freedom is your birthright. It is the natural state of a consciousness aligned with truth. And it is available to you now in this eternal moment as you embrace the understanding that you have not been delayed. God has been preparing you for this moment. My dear wonderful friends, I have shared with you tonight a truth that has the power to transform your entire experience of life. A truth that liberates you from the frustration of perceived delay and opens you to the peace of divine preparation. You have not been delayed. God, your own wonderful human imagination, has been preparing you with infinite wisdom and perfect precision for this very moment. Every experience, every encounter, every seeming setback has been an essential thread in the tapestry of your becoming. As you leave here tonight and return to your daily lives, carry this truth with you. Let it inform how you interpret your experiences. Let it guide how you perceive your past and approach your future. Let it transform your relationship with time itself. And know this with absolute certainty. The desire that burns within you, that vision of fulfillment and achievement and joy, has not been delayed. It has been in preparation. And now, at this perfect moment, it is ready to express itself through you in its fullest and most beautiful form. For you are God's perfect creation, and your life unfolds according to divine law. There is no delay in God's universe, only perfect timing, perfect wisdom, perfect love. Go now in peace, embracing the truth that you have not been delayed. God has been preparing you for this moment. And in this moment, all things are possible. Thank you, and good night.
To completely reshape your world and your experience of life, consider for a moment your current state. Perhaps you find yourself facing challenges, feeling that things often go against you, or maybe you've experienced some successes, but still feel that life is a constant struggle. Wherever you are, say unto you, you are exactly where you need to be to grasp this life-altering principle. But what does it mean to act as if everything always works out for you? It is not a matter of blind optimism or denying the challenges you face. It is a state of consciousness, a shift in perception that aligns you with the creative power of the universe. It is about recognizing that your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumption. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. Your outer world, every experience you have, every circumstance you encounter is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. It is a mirror faithfully reflecting back to you the sum total of your beliefs, assumptions, and most importantly, your dominant state of consciousness. When you understand this, truly understand it, you realize that by acting as if everything always works out for you, you are actively creating a reality where this is true. This understanding is crucial, for it shifts the entire paradigm of how you approach life. No longer are you a victim of circumstance, hoping that things will work out. You will become the active creator of your reality, knowing that as you assume the state of one for whom everything works out, the universe must rearrange itself to match this assumption. But how? You may ask, does one adopt this state of consciousness? The answer lies in the power of your wonderful human imagination. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker. It is the very workshop in which reality is forged. When you use your imagination to feel the reality of being someone for whom everything always works out, you are not engaging in idle daydreaming. You are engaging in the most powerful creative act known to man. Let's take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality. So, when you act as if everything always works out for you, when you assume this state in your imagination, you are not being delusional or engaging in wishful thinking. You are actively creating your reality from within. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you and for you. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of acting as if everything always works out for you. It is about recognizing that the power to shape your reality lies within you, waiting to be expressed. It is about understanding that your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumptions and feelings. Consider the biblical phrase, all things work together for good to them that love God. This is not about some external deity favoring certain individuals. It is about aligning yourself with the creative principle of the universe, which some call God, others call the subconscious mind, and others still call the law of assumption. When you love this principle, when you align yourself with it by assuming that everything works out for you, you set in motion forces beyond your comprehension that indeed make all things work together for your good. But let me be clear. The state of consciousness is not about passivity or simply wishing for good things to happen. It is about a fundamental shift in how you perceive and interact with the world. When you truly embody the state of one for whom everything works out, your actions naturally align with this assumption. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You approach challenges with confidence rather than fear. You make decisions from a place of assurance rather than doubt. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a person who constantly assumes that things will go wrong, that life is a struggle, that success is hard to come by. This person might hesitate to take risks, might approach new opportunities with skepticism, might give up easily in the face of setbacks. And in doing so, they create a reality that confirms their assumptions. They are living from the state of one for whom things don't work out. And so the universe faithfully reflects this state back to them. Now imagine this same person shifting their approach Instead of assuming struggle and failure, they begin to act as if everything always works out for them. They feel the confidence, the ease, the assurance of someone who knows that no matter what happens, it will ultimately be for their good. They live each day from this feeling, carrying themselves with the certainty of someone for whom life always unfolds in the best possible way. In this state, they approach life differently. They see setbacks as temporary and ultimately beneficial. They view challenges as opportunities for growth. They make decisions boldly, trusting that things will work out. And in doing so, they begin to create a reality that matches this new assumption. They allow a life of ease and success to flow into their experience, drawn by the power of their new dominant state. This principle applies to every aspect of your life. Whether you're dealing with relationships, career, health, or any other area, the key is to first assume the state of one for whom everything works out in that area. For what you are seeking is also seeking you, but it can only find expression through you when you align yourself with its frequency. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this denial of reality? And to this I say emphatically no. This is not about denying your current circumstances. It is about understanding the true nature of reality and the creative power of your consciousness. Your current circumstances are nothing more than the fruit of your past assumptions and beliefs. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power by continuing to focus on them and feel their reality. When you shift your focus, when you assume a new state of consciousness, you are not denying reality. You are exercising your divine right to choose which reality you wish to experience. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you react to circumstances as if things often go wrong, you are breathing life into a reality where things do indeed go wrong. But when you act as if everything always works out for you, you cause your outer world to rearrange itself to match this new inner conviction. This, my dear friends, is the true secret to creating a life where everything works out for you. It is about aligning yourself with the law of assumption, recognizing that your desired reality is seeking expression through you and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and feeling. But let me warn you, this shift in consciousness is not always an easy path. The old habits of reacting to circumstances, of letting your feelings be dictated by what you see, are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of being, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in, old patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your new assumed state. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying the state of what you do want. This persistence, this unwavering faith in the face of contrary evidence, is what allows you to truly create a reality where everything always works out for you. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your current reality or forcefully push away thoughts of things not working out. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of one for whom everything works out, to align yourself with the feeling of being such a person. This tuning is done through your imagination and your ability to generate feeling states. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to assume the feeling of being someone for whom everything works out, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. Acting as if everything always works out for you is a way of life. It's a constant choice to maintain this state of consciousness, regardless of appearances. Just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once, you cannot expect to create a reality where everything works out by imagining it once. This is about persistently assuming this state, about living from this consciousness day in and day out, until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that your perception of events begins to shift. What once seemed like setbacks or failures now appear as stepping stones or valuable lessons. You begin to trust in the perfect unfolding of your life, knowing that everything is always working out for your highest good. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this state when things seem to be going wrong? How can I act as if everything is working out when I face real challenges? And to this I say, your imagination is more powerful than any circumstance. Consider for a moment. Have you ever been deeply engrossed in a book or a movie? In those moments were you not feeling real emotions based on imaginary events? Your feelings were real, even though the events were not happening in your physical reality. This is the power you must harness to act as if everything always works out for you. You must use your imagination to create scenarios that evoke the feelings associated with everything working out. Imagine how you would feel if you knew with absolute certainty that every event in your life was ultimately for your good. Feel the peace, the confidence, the joy that would come with that knowledge. Feel these states as vividly and as consistently as you can. The key is to make these imaginal acts as real to you as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the relief of knowing everything is working out. See the evidence of things working in your favor. Hear the conversations you would have if everything always worked out for you. Make it real in your mind, and the feelings will naturally follow. But here's a crucial point, my friends. The goal is not to imagine specific outcomes. The goal is to capture the essence of the feeling state associated with being someone for whom everything works out. For it is this feeling state that is the true attractor of your experiences. Let me illustrate this with an example. Suppose you're facing a challenging situation at work. Instead of imagining a specific resolution, capture the feeling essence of being someone for whom everything always works out. What does it feel like to approach challenges with complete confidence that they will resolve in the best possible way? How does it feel to know that no matter what happens, it will ultimately benefit you? What is the feeling of moving through life with the assurance that everything is always working in your favor? By focusing on the feeling essence rather than specific outcomes, you allow the universe to bring your desire to you in ways that might far exceed your specific imaginings. You open yourself to possibilities beyond what your current mindset can conceive. This is the true art of acting as if everything always works out for you. It's not about forcing yourself to believe something against all evidence. It's about tapping into the reality of this state in the only place it truly exists, in your consciousness. As you practice this, you may find that your outer world begins to shift in subtle ways. Perhaps opportunities you never noticed before suddenly seem to appear, or challenges resolve themselves in unexpected ways, or you find yourself feeling more at peace and confident regardless of external circumstances. These are all signs that your inner shift is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your assumption is taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your assumed state of being someone for whom everything always works out. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. You may find yourself naturally attracting favorable circumstances. You may notice that even seemingly negative events end up working out in your favor. And as you continue to act from this state of consciousness, you'll discover that life becomes an exciting adventure, full of wonderful surprises and perfect unfoldings. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which the perfect unfolding of your life naturally flows. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly acting as if everything always works out for you, when you're fully embodying this state, you no longer need external circumstances to confirm your assumption. You're already whole, already complete in your knowing that all is well. And paradoxically, it's in this state of inner assurance that you're most likely to experience a life where everything does indeed work out perfectly. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about taking action? Don't we need to do things in the physical world to make things work out? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not anxious doing. When you're living from the state of one, for whom everything works out, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between making things happen and allowing them to happen. When you're trying to force outcomes, actions feel stressful, born out of fear and doubt. When you're acting as if everything always works out, actions flow naturally from your assumed state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring about the best possible outcomes. Consider the example of a river. A river doesn't strain to reach the ocean. It doesn't force its way through obstacles. It simply flows, naturally finding the path of least resistance. You, my dear listeners, are no different. When you align yourself with the state of one for whom everything works out, you allow your life to flow naturally and effortlessly towards its highest good. But let me be clear, this state of allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate assumption of the feeling of being someone for whom everything works out. It requires faith, not blind faith in external circumstances, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. This faith is not about believing that things will work out someday in the future. It's about knowing that everything is already working out perfectly in the realm of imagination, and that the outer world must inevitably conform to this inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in your assumed state, you'll begin to see evidence of things working out in your outer world. These signs may start small, an unexpected solution to a problem, a fortuitous meeting, a sudden insight that changes your perspective. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full realization of a life where everything always works out for you. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that if they fully embrace acting as if everything always works out, they'll become complacent or lose their drive to improve their circumstances. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you're truly living from this state, you become more inspired, more creative, more willing to take inspired risks, because you know that no matter what happens, it will work out for your good. This isn't complacency. It's ultimate confidence. In this state, you're not driven by fear or lack, but by joy and an eagerness to see how wonderfully things will unfold. You take action not because you're trying to avoid negative outcomes, but because you're excited to participate in the perfect unfolding of your life. This is the true gift of acting, as if everything always works out for you. It's not just about creating favorable circumstances, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of knowing that everything always works out, you become a channel for the most beautiful expressions of life. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the state of your wish fulfilled. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It's not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness when it's aligned with the truth of your being. You are the magic. You are the miracle. You are the one for whom everything always works. As we draw time together to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we've explored tonight, act as if everything always works out for you, is not just a technique for creating better circumstances. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine, creative being. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe and allowing your grandest expression of life to flow through you. When you live from this understanding, everything changes. The world becomes a friendly place filled with infinite possibilities. You no longer see yourself as a small, separate being struggling against external forces. Instead, you recognize yourself as the creator of your reality, the author of your own perfect unfolding. In this state, there's no need to fear or worry, for you understand that everything, absolutely everything, is always working out for your highest good. Your job is simply to assume this state, to live from this consciousness, and to allow the universe to take care of the details. So, my dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I urge you to embrace this principle with all your heart. Don't see it as a technique to be applied occasionally, but as a way of life to be lived continuously. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of one for whom everything always works out. Feel the naturalness of being such a person. Live from this state, persist in this assumption, and watch as your world rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you're not a helpless being pushed around by external circumstances. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the one and only reality. All things are possible to him who believes, for belief shapes reality. In your journey of acting as if everything always works out for you, this belief becomes your guiding light, leading you unerringly to the realization of your perfect life. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply it in your life. Test it, prove it to yourself. For in doing so, you'll discover the truth of who you really are. You'll tap into the limitless power that has always been within you, and you'll experience the joy, the freedom, the fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with the laws of creation. The world is waiting for you, my friends, not as a place of struggle or uncertainty, but as a playground of perfect unfoldment. It's waiting for you to recognize your true power, to step into your divine nature, to become the person who knows with absolute certainty that everything always works out. So start now. Feel the reality of being someone for whom everything always works out. Let this feeling permeate every aspect of your being. For in truth, you are already that person. You are already living in a reality where everything works out perfectly. All you need to do is open your heart, embrace this truth, and allow it to express itself more fully in your experience. Remember, the kingdom of heaven is within you. The perfect unfoldment of your life is within you. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. Embrace this truth, live from it, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes. Acting as if everything always works out for you is not a state of blind optimism, but a state of alignment with the fundamental truth of your being. Go forth now, my dear friends, and apply this principle in your lives. Act as if everything always works out for you. Feel the reality of this truth now, before any external evidence appears. Live from that state. Persist in that assumption, and watch as the world rearranges itself to match your inner knowing. For this is the true secret to creating a life of perfect unfoldment, and it is the key to realizing your highest potential as a divine, creative being